What's going on, my dudes? Today's topic is the feminization of men. Obviously, this is a very recent news story, but I think it's Kid Cudi here. He ended up going out on CBS in a dress and performing in honor of Kurt Cobain. But like, I don't so much care about this per se, but I care about the greater societal impact that this type of behavior has on society. Like the message that it sends to men and women in general. What does it say about men, and in particular black men, when you see black man after black man after black man after black man wearing a dress and behaving like a woman, effectively? Like, what does it say about us? It means that we're weak. It says that we're weak, we're docile, we're okay, we're not okay, but we're societally acceptable. We're not a threat to the power structure. We're not a we're just perceived as being not a threat. I mean, I wouldn't take this guy seriously. I don't care how many tattoos he has. I wouldn't take him seriously at all. It's fucking ridiculous how dumb he looks right now. And this is just to go about the overall greater message being sent out here, is that to men in general, is that men are nothing. Oh, we get to dress up men up in a dress and push them out on stage and have them smile at us, and we get to laugh at it and make jokes at their expense. And the man, he's gonna do nothing about it. The greater overall feminization of men is encompassed by stuff like this. It really is reinforced by stuff like this. Like, it really is. You have stuff like transgenderism, where, like, you have people who, oh yeah, you have men who want to convert to women now. It's like, well, why is that? Well, because we've convinced these men that being a man is evil, bad, and wrong, and that being a woman is good, virtuous, and great, and that women are strong, powerful individuals who don't need no man, and that if you're a man, you're an evil, misogynistic bastard who deserves to die. And since this has all been reinforced by the media, at the end of the day, you know, the left controls the media apparatus in this country. They control social media. It's all based out of California. They control social media. They control the whole quote unquote liberal media that used to be like, it used to be a meme that people would laugh about. Oh, the media is not liberal. What are you talking about? The media is very conservative. Yeah, yeah, sure. The number one rated cable news company in the world is still Fox News, but there's just more channels of liberalism in this country, of like liberal media or leftist media in this country. At the end of the day, they control the minds of the youth. Like, they brainwashed young men and women to believe that they don't need families. They're all individual snowflakes who are special, and they're all going to become movie stars and Instagram models and YouTube stars, and it's okay for a man to wear a dress and act like a woman, and it's okay for a woman to act like a man. At the end of the day, the environment plays so much of a factor in the development of our minds. Like, I couldn't imagine raising a child in this environment. I couldn't imagine it, because like, you'd have to avoid so much bullshit for them to like actually be able to thrive and survive and like not come out fucked up out of the system. But this shit's everywhere. This shit is everywhere. You had this particular instance. You had the with a little Nas X with that fucking music video with him humping up on the fucking devil and shit like that. You had that music video. It's like, okay, like, what are we really talking about, or what are we really saying when we allow that type of media to be portrayed out in society? We're saying that, oh, being this is good. This is a good thing. You can make a lot of money doing this. At the end of the day, it's almost like a grifting in a way. Like, these people here are so desperate to stay relevant and rich that they will literally sell their soul to the devil to do that. Like, that's what it kind of comes down to. These people here are so desperate to stay relevant and to make a lot of money and to be famous and to have eyes on them, that they will literally sell you out, to sell out the country just to make a few bucks. And you could argue that's a flaw with capitalism, but it's true to some extent, though. We are we are a cucked society at the end of the day. We're very, very cucked. Men are extremely have been demeaned to such a degree to where like we're not even taken seriously anymore. Like nobody takes the threat of violence from a man seriously anymore. It doesn't make any sense. Like women, like there's actually been a lot of stories about actually a few people post stories about this shit all the time talking about how like they'll like arm wrestle their girlfriend and their girlfriend will be so surprised how like, oh wow, you're really strong. What is that? Like why are you so strong? Because these women have been convinced by the media via movies, via TV shows, via music that, oh, a woman is just as strong as a man. When in reality it's never been true and it's not true. It feels like Douglas Murray said this in a on an interview he might have had on Fox News at one point. He basically said, in a nutshell, that society is pretending not to know something that it knew a week ago, and it rings true to some extent. We're pretending not to know how society actually functions and what productive societies actually look like. Like the 1950s wasn't that long ago in the grand scheme of things. The 1960s wasn't that long ago in the grand scheme of things. These periods of like economic growth, these periods of the nuclear family, the fucking 90s wasn't that long ago. You don't have to go back that far to look at a functional society that had children, that had culture thing on TV, that had a sense of morality, that had a better sense of community, had a better sense of equality when it came to the workplace. You don't have to go back that far. We just lost our way, and we lost our way because partially because men became weak. Men decided it was more important to chase skirts and chase women than it was to be on their purpose to some extent. Like a lot of men, especially in the black community, it seems like getting pussy is like such a huge deal. It's like like getting vagina is like, oh god, if you ain't smashing, you ain't nobody. And it's like at the end of the day, that shit used to not matter as much as it does now. Like it always mattered, but it never mattered as much as it does now. Like we're so hyper focused on this thing that we can't attain, that like we forget to like really enjoy our lives to some extent. And part of that's due once again to the conditioning. It really is odd to have a we have a society that's so weird because like not only is it like extremely puritanical, but it's also extremely sexualized as well. Like we've gone from a society that's like, it tells you, oh, don't worry about sex. Sex isn't that important, but then they push it into your face all of a sudden. So it only makes sense that a man would go insane, would go crazy, looking at society saying, wait a second, you tell me on one hand not to care about this, but on the other hand you throw it right in front of my face every minute of every day. How does that work? It really it only makes sense that a man would go insane with this type of like a double thing going on. Your double speak. Oh boy. It even extends to the education system as well. I've talked to people in my stream obviously about the school system and how what it's like coming through school at a coming through school now. I mean, I've been out of school since 2010, so it's been a while since I've been like a primary school or high school really. And it's amazing to hear the stories of like how the teachers are cucked, the male teachers don't give a fuck, the female teachers don't give a fuck, and all this like CRT, a critical race theory stuff is being pushed, and cultural Marxism is being pushed, and it's like, wait, what the fuck? It's like, what happened? And I was actually speaking to a friend today about a about how like during the last stream I kind of or during two streams ago, it was the one on Sunday or Saturday I did, Saturday night SNI I did. I talked about how basically it felt like in 2012, it's like somebody flipped a switch and all of a sudden all shit went to hell. And like I was talking to a friend today about how like yeah, I had this feeling back in 2012. And what happened during 2012? Well, in 2012, that's when the first generation of Zoomers who came through these indoctrination camps came up and came of age and started going to college. And that's when I think Occupy Wall Street was also going on. So not only did you see this precipitous rise in the use of racism, like the word racism was literally used more often than ever after Occupy Wall Street, probably to distract you from the economic crisis going on. But beyond that, you have this new generation of kids who know nothing more than critical race theory, social cultural Marxism, socialism, communism, whatever you want to call it. These guys are like extremely far left, at least from a cultural standpoint, maybe not from an economic standpoint, but from a cultural standpoint, they really are far left, and they have these views that are like they entered into the workforce and they entered into the cultural zeitgeist as well, and I think that's part of the problem. Like these companies are just simply catering to a generation of children who are going to be the ones who earn the most money, and they're just kind of like getting ahead of the curve here. If that makes any sense. So it is amazing how like one generation can just like fuck it over for everybody else, really. Because I once again, it seemed like in 2012, just like a switch got flicked, and all of a sudden this shit just came out of nowhere. And but it didn't come out of nowhere. Like people were sounding the alarm back in 2012, saying, "Hey, these kids are really far left. They're really extreme in their thought processes. Maybe we need to like curtail this stuff before that." And the excuse that was always used was that, oh well, the real world will sort them out. You know, when they actually get to the real world, they won't be able to be as far left as they are. Well, obviously that didn't fucking work. Obviously, these kids are extremely crazy. And I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I'm extremely worried about what happens when these kids become the leaders of our country. They become the leaders of our companies. They become the leaders of the workforce. What happens to this country? What happens to the world, really? Because we still are the a superpower. We still are the cultural hegemon of the world. You have countries like France even complaining about how we're exporting our culture and how toxic it really is. So, yeah, this has been my rant for the day. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. If you like the video or hate the video, I don't know. And never forget, guys, that wisdom is gold. See you next time.